All right, so this is a straight line once the stupid lockout's over that the Yankees would be wise to focus on. What do I mean by straight line? Okay. Catching, pitching, shortstop, center field. Right up the middle, right? Positions of dire need for the Yankees. You got first base in there too. You got some other positions too, obviously, but that's kind of the straight line that the Yankees would be wise to be addressing and filling in one way or another. Okay? I'm going to go through my kind of plan of attack after this offseason, after this lockout, and it's based on what we're hearing about what the Yankees may or may not do. Not my dream offseason. We've already talked about that, but what we're for a lot of folks that are not as confident in the Yankees' ability to kind of field a big offseason here. I mean, they could still have a really good offseason, but the chances are, we don't know, based on what we're hearing and what we're seeing, and it's just up in the air, right? So I'm going to keep that real right now. And live on planet Earth here. But before I do it, if you're not subscribed to this channel and you want to be kept in the loop on everything, do that right now. Even if you don't watch all the videos, subscribing to the channel still helps with the channel's growth. I'm trying to get this out to a broader community, so a lot of the folks know, like Yankee fans out all across the world know that this channel exists. So it's greatly appreciated one way or another. If you want to be kept in, obviously you press the bell icon, the notification, so you know exactly when videos drop. And please feel free to join us on our live streams Wednesday nights and Saturday nights. 161 Mafia gets together and we have a party. So it's hopping. It's hopping. It's hopping. With that, let's get to it. Okay. Plan of attack. Number one for me, right out the gates, I'm going after Seiya Suzuki. And you know what? And I said this recently. Okay. If you see a trend that's happening right now, there's some major leaguers that are signing with teams on minor league deals. Okay. Like D. Gordon just signed with the Nationals. You know he's going to probably get up to the major leagues at some point. But getting these guys in the stable on minor league deals allows the teams to sign players without any ramification because they won't be on a 40-man roster. Once the lockout ends, you could put them on the roster. But you get the guys here, okay? Get guys here. So there are role players that the Yankees can sign on minor league deals and just bump them up to the major league roster once this freaking thing expires. So you obviously would have to make a corresponding move, yes, but there are guys that you can move if you're bringing in guys that you want. So, and again, you could, I don't know how they set up salaries and blah 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 or signing bonuses, this and whatever the hell it is, but you can bring guys here right now. Even onto minor, you'd have guys willing to sign in a minor league deal just to get on a damn team. And again, it's less stressful activity for the Yankees on the other end once this thing's over. So it's just a thought, but I see teams doing it incrementally. Guys are either going to Japan or they're signing minor league deals with teams. Okay, the Yankees already signed Jose Peraza to a minor league deal, and it's got potential pop, but like there are other guys. They need role players here. They created too many holes. They need some role players. So anyway, with that, first plan of attack for me, I'm going after Seiya Suzuki. Okay, Seiya Suzuki from Japan. He's got a skill set, and he's a patient, disciplined hitter who doesn't strike out a lot, who walks more than he strikes out, and that's the type of skill set the Yankees need here. More patient, disciplined hitter. You can have him play at center field. Have him lead off because he's got a little bit of speed too, okay? If they don't pursue him, my guess is he'll go to Boston or someone else. He'll feast off that green monster, and that tells me that the Yankees are very likely to stick with Aaron Hicks for center field. Now, he had an underwhelming winter ball, but not expected because he's missed almost 2 years, so or a year and a half, so I wasn't expecting a earth-shattering performance from him under any circumstances, but with that said, he doesn't look like he's the solution anymore as the long-term guy. But if Cashman sticks with him, he sticks with him. Then I pivot to Eddie Rosario. Okay, dynamic, left-handed hitting, good contact outfielder who's a great base runner, who's an elite defender who can play all three outfield positions. And you add him as the fourth outfielder, a guy that can play regularly while you give guys like Judge and Stanton and Gallo either a DH day or an off day. Get a guy in there. Those guys will still be able to play 130 games a season or whatever it is. And Rosario will be playing almost full-time too. Just for rotating around. So this to me is a much better depth piece. And even if they go with Estevan Florial, fine. But I like Eddie Rosario because he's playoff tested. He's done a lot of things that the Yankees don't currently do. So he'd be a good fit here. He's really, really good. And I've been talking about him for 2 months now. So now, moving down the wire, talking about a little bit off the straight line, first base. I'm obviously trying to finish this Matt Olson trade or trying to actually get it done. Okay. Whether it's with him or just him, for him or with him and a starting pitcher or whatever the hell it is, that would address 2 holes at one stone too with the Yankees. But figuring out one way to get him, and again, the A's I think are going to wait this out as long as possible because they're going to want a team to bite and overpay, and why would they not? So it's and how long do the Yankees want to wait? is the question. Because then if you start to lose out on the other options, Rizzo and Freeman or whatever else, then the Yankees are going to be stuck. Okay, so you got to be smart and aggressive one way or another. So if the Olsen doesn't happen, I'm pivoting right away to Anthony Rizzo, who's familiar with New York already. He played pretty solid here. He's a glove wizard, and is a left-handed contact guy with some power, and he's a great leader and a great teammate. So, or I'm going after Kyle Schwarber. Okay, there's a chance. I even predicted Anthony Rizzo to Boston. If he goes to Boston, you got to get Kyle Schwarber if you don't get Olsen. So, and I don't want Suzuki going to Boston either. So, that's kind of the plan of attack for first base. Now, going back to shortstop, getting back on the line, Trevor Story's my guy and I predict him to the Yankees. He's been my guy for a bit now. There's talks about him potentially being open to a one-year deal, and I can see the logic in it because if he signs a one-year deal, you give him big money. How it benefits him? Well, he's going to come back onto free agency next year where he'll be the top guy instead of the number 5 guy in shortstop. So he'd be in line for a big contract. So because he'd be one of the top players. So I could see that logic. And then on the Yankees side too, I can see you give him a big 1-year deal, right? And and if you again if he plays really well, then you give him a qualifying offer. And if he signs a big contract elsewhere, which he likely will, then you get a big a high prospect in return. Okay. If he stays here, if he signs here, then I'm giving either Oswald Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera the shot to be the super utility guy. If Peraza's moved in a trade for Olsen, if that happens, which he likely will, then Oswaldo Cabrera is going to be the guy. There's a chance that Luke Voigt and Doug Labor-Torres might be in those deals as well, because young, controllable players. So over to Oakland. So if they are, then it makes it even easier. I just put DJ at second base, and Oswaldo Cabrera is my super utility guy. Okay, and then you have Olsen at first and Gio at third, and then you have these young kids surrounded by elite gloves everywhere to make it a more defensively adept infield. I ain't complaining about that. But again, I'm not waiting for Freddie Freeman. I think he's going to cost a ton, and for first base at least. But back to shortstop. This is kind of the plan of attack. That's what I would do. It's Story or Peraza. And again, if Peraza's not moved, then I wouldn't hesitate to give Peraza a shot to be the starting shortstop. I wouldn't. He's major league ready, especially with the glove. And again, with Dylan Lawson in the fold now, I think he's going to do a good job continuing with Peraza development, Oswaldo Cabrera, and some of these other guys at the major league level too. His versatility it's a new kind of forward-looking hitting coach mentality. It's kind of like the Matt Blake of hitting coaches. So I think that's going to be a good thing for the Yankees one way or another. But guys that he's familiar with and he's worked with could be up here. And it gives Volpe another year of development so that you're not having to rush him. And then when he's ready, he comes up. And he might force himself onto the roster this year. If he does, fantastic. But we'll see. So now back to pitching, or down to pitching, I would be looking for a reliever either in a trade or free agency. Andrew Chafin is my left-handed reliever, or Aaron Bummer is my left-handed reliever in a trade. So free agency, Chafin, trade, Bummer. There could be other guys. Kenley Jansen could be an option, or some other dudes can be an option too. But again, I like a lefty here. We have a lot of righty power arms, and a good crafty lefty I think would be a good option, especially with an Aaron Bummer, because it gives him an opportunity to pitch multiple innings. His versatility is coming into play, and they're going to lose Chapman and Britton after this season. So bringing in a lefty who can kind of supplant them, I think to me would be a good idea. So something to keep in mind. And then starting pitching, okay? Luis Castillo either in a trade, in him or Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks. And again, I proposed the Gallen-Carson Kelly trade, which I still think is doable if they give the right return, or Carlos Rodon in free agency. There might be a chance you can get him on a short-term deal too. He's got some injury concerns, but he's got a higher ceiling than Robbie Ray, it looks like. And again, it's a crafty pitcher. He's got a big arm, but he can be prone to injury. But we still, no matter what, need a legitimate number 2 behind Gerrit Cole. Okay, we cannot go get a 4th or 5th guy again. We need a number 2 or number 3 behind Cole to bridge the gap between him and the rest of the rotation. There's no doubt about it. So that's kind of my plan of attack. And then I think this is a plan of attack. Now, it's not my dream offseason, because my dream offseason, the Yankees would be spending a hell of a lot more. But I think they're still going to exercise some kind of financial constraints to some degree. To what degree, we don't know, but I'm doing this under the assumption that they're going to do that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're more aggressive. But they can still field a good, a good group of guys and have a solid offseason. And again, I said this repeatedly, this is not a one offseason solution. They have to do multiple things for a couple off seasons to set them on better footing short term and long term. And again, I said this too, they made it clear that they want to make money. You want to make the most money? Win the World Series. Put a team out there to win the World Series. There is nothing in the world like winning a World Series in New York. Nowhere is like winning a World Series in New York. Nowhere. So just invest in your team, guys. Spend aggressively, spend wisely. You got $100 million coming off the books in the next 5 years. So why not? Right? Field the team, guys. This is the opportunity. This is the offseason to do it. So, but anyway, that's my plan of attack. Tell me what your plan of attack is, okay? I could easily say, oh, Correa this, Brian Reynolds this, but the chances of these happening are not very likely. So I wanted to still be aggressive, but stay on planet Earth here. But give me your insight, folks. Give me some feedback. Talk to you later.